Podcast.
Welcome to the Fresh Squeeze Podcast. I have loose French fries in my pockets. Let's hit this shit.
Are they old French fries?
No.
Fresh out of the fryer?
No.
That'd probably be pretty hot on your thighs.
I wouldn't say fresh, but I mean, is a week fresh?
Whoa, I don't know. Those might be a little stale. Well,
let me just check real quick.
well, we are. You actually have fries. Well, we are joined today by the lovely Moonmousse. Nice to have you. Yay!
Hi.
And of course, the less than lovely Mike.
Aw.
No, you're lovely too. You're lovely too. So we have an excellent podcast for you today. A lot of preparation went into this. I'm really excited, especially to hear what Moonmousse has put together. But what do you say we kind of lay this down to bed on the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? You know, I'm just saying we talked about it in a stream last week.
Yes, but you say bed, she says toilet.
It's kind of the same thing for her, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, probably.
So I've got a couple of these videos, a little bit of testimony. The first one is obviously, in my opinion, the funniest one. And just for YouTube purposes, this is definitely for review. I mean, I don't think this is even copyrighted, but I just want to make sure that this is definitely seen as fair use. And here it is. Johnny Depp's testimony of Amber Heard pooping in his bed. I guess it's
if any YouTube executives are watching right now, this is for review purposes only, falls under fair use, and is by no way owned by anybody at Squeezebox Entertainment.
Here we are. And Moon, if you want to see this, by all means, check out my share in Discord.
Literally,
hey,
just
the flying
got
underwear.
I got into bed. I remember the television was on, and I was reading, and I suppose Miss Heard was down in her area, taking off her makeup and changing into sleep clothes, whatever, and
sleep clothes.
She entered the bedroom while I was laying on my side of the bed, reading, and she was still rattling off all the...
Does it seem like he's kind of drawing this out a little bit?
Well, with Johnny Depp, I have a lot of mixed feelings on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, he's bred American, just straight up from America, no question. But he has an accent from like Central or Eastern Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little weird. That kind of mimics a little bit of the Hilaria Baldwin situation.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, for sure. Let's continue on.
The wrongs I'd done to her in that particular day, and how unreliable I am, and what a horrible person I was, and I did not engage verbally, nothing. I sat there or laid there reading my book, and when she didn't get a jump out of me or a jolt out of me, she got out of bed, she walked around the bed, she came to my side, and again, you've got a person who is throwing multiple shots at your face, at your head, at your neck, at anything she could hit. So I got up out of bed.
I mean, gut feeling. Do you think that he's playing this up at all? I mean, her facial
Honestly, no.
expression looks pretty deadpan. Like, I would think she would be
Well,
a lot more surprised if it
well,
was
back it up a little bit to a still on her.
okay.
I did see an eyebrow twitch.
Yeah.
Well, the eyebrow twitch can mean a lot of things. If you've ever seen the show Lie to Me, I've watched it enough times that I consider myself an expert on facial expressions. But no, not
Okay.
really. But in the still, like if you notice her face, she's looking at him with contempt, not with
I agree.
fear, not
Yeah.
with any kind of anything relating to a victim.
Kind of
She's looking at him as somebody that is about to throw her under the bus.
like kind of a how dare you drop dimes type of look. You know?
Exactly. She is looking at him as the person who is about to spill all the dirty laundry on the floor, and she's the one that has to clean it up, and she knows it.
Yeah.
That is the exact expression on her face.
Let's
Also, one thing that somebody had pointed out to me during
Yeah.
the entirety of the trial, she stared at him, just straight up stared,
dang.
and he refused to make any kind of eye contact with her at all. He didn't even glance in her direction.
I mean, that's a pretty contemptuous look. I can understand why. But
Yeah.
There's something interesting too. Like whenever she was, what is this called? Being cross-examined or being on the stand. When she was on the stand and his lawyer or her own lawyer would ask her questions, she would answer, but like turn to the jury and never the person asking the question.
Well,
I don't know. It was
that-
just interesting. Like, look
Yeah.
at when he's answering this question, he's not looking at the jury currently.
yeah.
She was constantly talking to the jury instead of the lawyers. It was just, I don't know, interesting.
this could
Yeah,
be
that is weird.
bias, but she's acting.
Oh,
He's
for sure.
recollecting.
Yeah. Let's continue on with this. Actually, Ryosake is saying the lack of eye contact is a promise he made to her out of spite.
That's very
That's
true.
true.
I had
Yep.
heard that. But would you even call it
Grab-
spite?
I'm not sure.
At that point, I think it's more washing his hands of her than actually being out of spite.
He's just done. He's
He
like,
wants
"I'm
absolutely
done."
nothing to do with her, and he's doing this for his own good. Like he's in that courtroom for himself.
I mean, all of them are in the courtroom for themselves at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's since past now, but you get my drift.
Her by the shoulders.
No, they're all still in there.
And I sat her down
What?
on the bed.
I thought it
They're
was
all
done.
still in that courtroom. Like they're in there at this very moment, just
And I
sitting.
said, I'm leaving. Please don't get off the bed. Please don't follow me. Please don't try and stop me.
Hey, there it is. He said, "Don't get off the bed," and then eventually, since she couldn't leave the bed, she had to shit somewhere. I'm just
He used power word command on her.
And she got up off the bed and she squared off at me in the doorway of our bedroom. And I said, what do you want to do? Hit me again? Would you like to hit me again?
hey.
And I said, go ahead. Hit me. Bam. And then I just said, is that what you wanted? Would you like another? Bam. There's the second one. And I said, good, now you're done. Grabbed her by the shoulders, walked her to the bed, sat her down, and said, don't follow me. Leave me alone. I'm out. I'm gone. I went, I grabbed a few things, and I got out immediately, and I went to my other house on Sweetser.
He's like, later, dude, I'm going to my other house. Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a humble brag right
Yeah.
there. Seriously, it's like
Yeah.
I'm going to escape this situation by going to another house that I own.
Right.
Like, fuck you, poor people that can't even afford anything but rent.
Right.
As Ms. Heard
You
was,
said it so
was
casually,
leaving
too.
Just my other house.
following day
No big
for
deal.
Coachella, which is Coachella is like it's a big
Oh, come on. Everybody knows what Coachella is.
To be
event, a
honest, I did
concert,
He's
not before
old,
the trial.
Jason.
many bands.
I did not
Old
before
people
the trial.
over-explain.
Yeah, out in the desert.
I just want to say, is that a clip-on? Is that a clip-on
Probably.
tie? Because
Probably.
Honestly, don't know how people can tell just by looking at them.
it kind of
Well-
looks to me like a clip-on.
I'm looking at the shape of the
Would not
knot.
know.
It looks a little too tight on the lower hypotenuse to be an actual tie knot. And
Yeah.
no, I'm saying this with absolutely no humor. I mean it.
No,
Like,
I just have never heard someone say on the lower hypotenuse before to describe
sorry, I
a
know
triangle.
things.
I know things.
But no, but seriously, that's a real genuine critique. The bottom corner of the triangle is very tight to the point that it more than likely is not a real knot.
Toy like
Thank
a toy
you
gun,
for adjusting your language for those of us
right?
Yeah.
who don't know things.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, you know what? I've actually been called out a couple of times at work this week alone by old people who don't know words that I'm saying, and it's weird.
They just have no idea what you're saying at all.
Well, I can't think of an example really, but I'll say words occasionally in my customer service. Um, well, now I can't think of words. Thanks, both of you, but. Just like I'll come out with a word just in conversation like it ain't no thing, and then suddenly they're like, "What does that word mean?" I'm like, "Oh, it means yada yada," and they're like, "Oh, well, why didn't you just say that then?"
Fair enough.
And they say it with such contempt in their voices too. It's like, "Oh, you're young. You have no business having a vocabulary.
Right.
You should be slaving away in the coal mines and walking 15 miles to school every morning." Blah 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 blah.
Oh, Riyasaki's got a lot to say here. So if you've seen behavioral experts on YouTube talking about his testimony versus her testimony, as he asks out the situation, that memory recall, but she only does that when talking about the hits he did to her, which is telling as someone who studied psychology in college. This is very telling that she was the one doing the hitting. It's just unfortunate that this is even the situation for either of them.
Domestic violence is never an okay thing. It just isn't.
Yeah, I can agree
Male
with that.
or female, victim or aggressor, it doesn't matter.
Well, the thing that is especially, and we'll get back to the video here, but the thing that I personally find a bit upsetting about this whole thing is that it turned out to be just a huge fiasco that, in my opinion, doesn't fully, like some people are saying that it fully delegitimizes the Me Too movement. Hey, it's Barron in the background. Anyway, it doesn't fully delegitimize the Me Too movement or anything, but it does, in fact, kind of make it not as good of a movement. And that's unfortunate because
I'm right on the
I'm
opposite
not
of
sure
that.
I agree.
I disagree entirely.
I don't think it did any harm at all. I think these are like two different. What am I? I need to get my thoughts together. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was just going to say that the only harm it could possibly have done is to the false accusers. There was a couple that were fairly prolific during the Me Too movement, but they were normie people. They weren't celebrities, so they got no airtime. But there was a woman in the UK who accused something like 19 men of rape, and not a single one of them actually did it. And she got a slap on the wrist for it.
Yikes.
And yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, let's watch some more of this here. Or Moon, did you have anything else to say on that?
No, I don't think it has done really.
Oh, here it is.
Any harm,
actually.
What
Fantasist, 27, jailed for 10 years for falsely accusing 15 men of rape and sexual assault.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well,
A single false accusation should have the same jail time as an actual convicted rapist. When you accuse a man of rape, his life is over. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is over.
No, it's not.
Proven correct or not.
No. I mean, that's case by case. I mean, you've got that Brock Turner, the swimmer, who is just going to go on and live his life as a car salesman.
That is true.
And make
it is case by case. It is case by case.
Absolutely. I would agree with Moon and say it's a case by case. I don't think that it's a guaranteed your life is over. But I see I get the sentiment. I can get that it is a major blow to one's reputation.
I got a buddy, real life buddy, who was accused in 2012, I think, something like that, a while ago. And upon accusation, he was jailed immediately, pending trial, of course. I mean, to be expected. But before he went into the jail, county, by the way, he got put on the sex offenders registry as a temporary spot there, basically just preemptive to the trial, just so if he were to bond out or whatever. Anyway, a year after his accusation, before all the trials were done, her friend, the accuser's friend, caught her on video saying she made the accusation up so she wouldn't get in trouble for being drunk at a party.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, very messed up. Want to know the worst part about it? My buddy was exonerated, sure. His job refused to hire him back because of the accusation, and he was kept on the sex offender registry for a further 3 years.
Jeez.
Uh-huh.
Crazy.
And not one part of it stated that it was an accusation unfounded and overturned.
Well, let's continue on this because we've got a couple of videos after this. So let's finish this video up here real quick.
Tangent over.
She and her friends were going to Coachella for the weekend. And that was it. That was it.
Mr. Depp, after April 21st, 2016, when was the next time that you actually saw Miss Heard in person?
I left Miss Heard, I left Penthouse 3. I left at 4:30 in the morning. It was actually her birthday. It was about 4:30 in the morning, April 22nd. And that's when I left. And from that moment on, I did not see Ms. Heard until May 21st.
And why was that?
I had received some news.
Here it is.
That was as absurd and grotesque and cruel.
He literally does not eat. I'm just saying, obviously he has talked this over with his lawyers, but still, he is seems very embarrassed to even say this.
Yeah, he
Very
does.
sure he does, but I also want to point out he used the word cruel to describe a turd.
Yeah, a turd on a pillow.
I mean,
Hey.
if either of you were to see a sewer missile on your pillow, would you consider it to be cruel?
Hey, if it's the My Pillow pillow, then yes,
If
it
it's
would.
a My Pillow and somebody dropped a mud monkey on mine, I'd say nuh-uh.
Oh.
Of what the problem was. I had gone to Mr. Bett and said, she's at Coachella. I think it's a good time to go downtown so that I can get some of my things, and get them out of there, especially the things that were precious to me,
My precious.
children things from
He already has
friends,
enough rings.
Brando, Hunter, Thompson, whatever, things that were important to me. And he said, I don't think now's a good time to go. And I thought, it's the perfect time. She's not going to be home
Poker
for 2
face.
days. And then he showed me a photograph on his telephone.
Videos
Oh,
doing weird
fuck.
stuff.
His telephone.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it again. He's old.
No, he's not that old.
Yeah, he's well into his 60s. I mean, he obviously doesn't look like it because he's a celebrity and he might be bathing his skin in like secret alien
It's-
juices that only rich people know about. But
It's virgin blood. That's already been discussed.
Alien jizz. Alien
No,
jizz.
it's that weird milk from Star Wars.
Johnny Depp is 59.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
thought he was already in his 60s.
No, he's the same age as
I could've
Anthony
sworn he was
Kiedis,
64.
actually. Yeah, I found out today that Anthony Kiedis is 59.
Hey,
also.
nice to see you again, Almond.
Hey, Almond. You guys know who Anthony Kiedis is, right? One of the
I-
most notorious heroin addicts in history, a singer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, is he the...
Look at a picture of him, and he looks
Yeah.
like he's in his 30s.
Hey, Couch Potato Gaming. What's up, dude?
What up?
Also hearsay.
We're talking about
It's a
poop.
photograph, Your Honor.
As being relayed to him by Mr. Bett.
He says he looked at it on his phone.
I'll overrule the objection as the photograph.
What was the photograph of Mr. Depp?
Poopy.
It was
This poor guy.
It was Mr. Hanky.
It was a photograph of the bed, our bed.
Our marriage
And
bed.
on my side of the bed,
It's like, look at the
was
horror
human
on
fecal
his
matter.
face.
Human fecal matter, he says.
I think he was trying to figure out the politest way to say it.
Yeah.
I
But you
understood
could tell
why.
that smirk. He just smirked.
Time to
He
go
was
down
trying
there.
really hard not to laugh. But no, seriously, there was just a brief glimpse. If you watch the corners of his lips, they
Yeah.
upturned slightly, and he was trying very hard not to giggle, like a fucking
It was
schoolgirl.
Yeah.
It was a photograph of the bed, our bed, and on my
He
side
looks like
of
he's
the
in
bed,
pain because he's trying so hard not to just bust out.
was human fecal matter. So
There it was,
I
there it was.
understood why it wasn't a good time to go down there. My initial response to that was, I mean, I laughed. It was so
Wow.
outside. It was so bizarre and so grotesque that I could only laugh.
He acts like he's never seen human shit before.
And
He has kids, doesn't he?
so I did not go down there. That
At least 3.
Mr. Depp, how?
So that was the poop testimony. Thoughts? Anything else before we go to the next one that is actually just really funny?
I don't know,
I really think that there's something wrong
Miss-
with Amber Heard, and she needs to go to therapy. Like a lot of I don't know. It's like he said, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I could never imagine using that tactic. Like
I'm
it
glad.
wouldn't even come. It's just, I don't know. She needs to see someone.
For
That's
the-
my opinion.
For those in
Right,
the
well-
chat, that don't know me, actually, Moonmousse is my wife. So that's, just get you in on the joke there. But anyway, sorry.
Like, I'm with her on this. I don't care how pissed off I get at somebody in a relationship or leaving a relationship with me. I genuinely don't think I would be able to rev the copter on somebody else's pillow ever.
How many other names for this do you have? Because I'm
I know. I
curious
was
now.
just thinking seen that.
Right.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Do you have like a little random generator there? Like
No.
it's just all on your head, like off the top
It's
of your
all in
head.
my head, dude. Always. Always. I mean, I could look away from the computer and do 10 right now.
All right,
Okay.
let's
okay,
do it. He's got to prepare. This is so bizarre, so grotesque.
She dropped
He's
a
such
brown
a-
baby.
Such a soft-spoken person.
He is a very soft-spoken person, but I wouldn't be soft-spoken if somebody put a brown baby in my bed.
That's
Somebody
only
leaves a
one.
chocolate hot dog on my pillow, I would be very upset.
That's two.
Well, a star anise droplet would be a little harder to deal with, but at the same time, grease balls of fire would be difficult to deal with, especially after these flaming hot Cheetos. How many's that?
4.
4? Okay. Well, you know what?
Okay, we'll give up.
This is beneath me.
Hey, I'm just saying. No, I mean, counting the ones you've already mentioned, that's easily 10. So I'll give you that.
Okay.
All right, so
I
this
came up with the coprocopter on the spot because I just thought it sounded funny. Coprocopter.
Oh man, so this next one, it is just kind of a no shit Sherlock moment where they want to continue defaming Johnny Depp's character by bringing up that the dude does illicit drugs, as though anybody supposedly was surprised at that.
But the yes shit Sherlock Amber Heard would do drugs too.
Well, they would have to test her fecal matter for that one because,
Well, Johnny's got some.
yeah.
He does, but apparently it's a Yorkies.
What? Is that what they
She blamed
said?
it on their Yorkie.
Oh.
Wow.
What
As
did
I
they?
stated in the
Did it
previous
just
video,
like poop out its entire digestive
Yeah.
system?
no, I think it saved it up, mushed it all up real good so it would look roughly like the size and shape of a human matter, and then fucking laboriously heaved it onto the bed.
That
Dang.
might even be worse. Like,
Yeah.
because then you're actually touching poop.
The dog
like-
stepped on
Yeah.
a bee, so what else was it gonna do? Couch potato. Couch potato said that at the same time. Wow.
This dog has a lot of problems.
Yeah. What are they feeding that thing? Oh my gosh. All right, so
I'd
this one,
imagine copious quantities of McDonald's.
here it
Not a
is.
sponsor.
This is the title of this one. Johnny Depp discusses cocaine use with Marilyn Manson during the trial.
Mr. Depp, I'd like to direct your attention to line 24. You can see in that left-hand column there. And this is a text message from you to Stephen Duders, your personal assistant at the time.
Duders.
Stephen Duders. Nice.
Well, Mr.
October
Duders, what do you
31st,
want to do today?
2013. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Permission to publish or move for.
Okay, so I'm just saying, in his drug testimony, dude's literally wearing sunglasses. All right.
They look like they're sunglasses that he took from a Barbie. Like, seriously, look at how the frames bend outwards. They're clearly made for a child. Secondly, pink frames, he stole that from a little girl outside the courthouse.
Hey,
I don't
here's a
think they're
couple.
pink.
Justice for Amber.
here's a couple other from Couch Potato Gaming. Filet of fish. No, that's what was fed to the Yorkie, I guess. But the good old booger sugar.
Just this page of the exhibit with just
Angel
that
sugar?
text.
With the phone numbers redacted, we have no objection.
course.
You could do those redactions, so it'd just be page 2 of Exhibit 196.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you ever going to enter any other pages of this exhibit into evidence?
I'd like to reserve the right to.
Then we'll call
To
this
do that.
196A.
Okay, thank you.
Just makes it easier for the record.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
He's wearing glasses, so now she has to also.
Yeah.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
All right, 196A in evidence as redacted.
And in this text message from you to Mr. Duders on October 31st, 2013,
Duders.
you write, "Thanks. She thinks that my Peruvian period has made me a monster.
What is a Peruvian period?
When a Peruvian goes through a menstrual cycle, I would imagine.
Interesting.
And that I am ruining the relationship. You see that?
That is a good point,
Yes, it is.
Ryosaki. I was a little... I mean, hey, I'm just saying, teach their own. But, like, her suit is a little... It's kind of a weird-looking suit. I'm just saying.
The Peruvian period is a reference to cocaine. Is it not?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
I didn't realize that. See, Ryosaki, Coke period. You got it. 5 points.
I'm sorry, you said yes, it is?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Let's go to Exhibit 293, please.
He's getting nervous. Look at him. He's like, oh, fuck, I want to do a bump right now.
Mr. Depp,
All
I'd
right,
like
points
to direct
redacted.
your attention to the bottom text, which is a text from you to an unknown number on October 4th, 2014. Do you see that?
The last one.
Yes.
Yes, I see that.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of modified Exhibit 293 with just that redacted version. And we may use other parts of it, so I'd ask it to be 293A or 1.
Okay, we can make it A. Let's
Okay.
keep consistent
All
after
right.
293.
I forgot what you'd said.
No objection,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
293A, we'll get the redactions done.
Okay, are we done with these redactions? Come on.
All right, 293.
This is almost as bad as an SCP article.
Wasn't it like a whole meme thing that was it the defense or the prosecution that was just constantly not prepared?
It was the defense, Amber Heard's people.
Jeez.
Well, I don't think they were so much ill-prepared as they were incompetent.
Yeah.
I just don't think they had a lot to go off of.
Well, first of all, no,
They just didn't have a lot of evidence.
They really didn't, but... dude, I think this was all a ploy to sell merchandise. Memes.
Yeah.
They are the world currency now.
There we go.
NFTs.
All right.
Gonna fly through the wall.
293A in evidence with redactions.
Do you think the poop picture is an NFT?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't know if the poop picture's ever been made
And
public.
in this text message on October 4th, 2014.
That's going to be in my
you
Google
text
search now.
Someone, it's unclear who. You say, I am going to, quite gracefully, glide into a massage of my broken back and neck. I shall exit in 1 hour, a monster. Shall we each swallow
Wow.
an E each, parentheses, or perhaps it's MDMA, at around 8 p.m., and go to dinner with a few of my wee team at a wonderful Peruvian spot. Let us
Wow, okay,
enjoy this
pause
night, my
that.
brother.
Are they just so are they calling it Peruvian because like cocaine is very often from Peru? I'm confused at this reference. What the fuck does
well-
Peruvian have anything to do with anything?
Cocaine is like more well known for being Colombian because of, what's the guy's name from Narcos?
I have no idea.
Shit, I should know this. Either way, no. When he was reading that transcript, it sounded like a cop trying to fit into the crowd. Like, shall we each swallow an E each, or perhaps it's MDMA at around 8 p.m. and go to dinner with a few of my wee team at a wonderful Peruvian spot.
Oh man.
I am not a cop.
Let us reward ourselves for the hard work and misery of the heat that we push ourselves to conquer every goddamn day. The shatter. Did I read that right?
The shatter?
And E here, that's a reference to ecstasy, correct?
It is.
You can take that down, Michelle, please.
Ask and ye shall receive.
You would agree that you found drugs and alcohol at an early stage in your life, right?
I've certainly, yes, I did.
And you testified a couple days ago that you had done just about every kind of drug there was by age 13 or 14, right?
15.
15. And you found that drugs are the only way to numb your pain, right?
They have always been a medicine for me, yes, a numbing agent.
And you said yesterday that, in fact, I think you said you take drugs to numb the demons, right?
The demons.
I don't know that I said to numb the demons, but I have, well, if I did say demons, it is to numb the residual pain that I carry from my youth.
Right. And one of your good friends that you've taken drugs with before is Marilyn Manson, right?
Yes, we've taken, we've drank together. We've had cocaine together maybe a couple of times.
He's just saying this so nonchalant.
Pills, right?
And like, yeah, I
With
got
Marilyn Manson?
a signed book from Hunter S. Thompson,
I
and I
once
did
gave
coke with Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson a pill so that he would stop talking so much.
Wow.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
You employ.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Oh, Mark Brown, come on. Oh, get out of here.
Wait.
You want to watch Mark Brown? Or...
That guy, he's from the Rapist Search meme.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, no, is it him?
No.
That's him.
No.
I swear. It is,
Okay,
it is.
let's
We gotta
look it up.
control this.
Rapist
Search.
You might want to clear your history. after
Images.
this.
It is.
Oh!
Oh.
How did you just know that?
I'm a meme historian, sister.
It's
I
that
believe
guy.
That was impressive.
Just out of nowhere, I was like, wait, I know him. Rapist Search. That's it.
Coincidence? I think not.
That poor guy.
He looks a good bit older, though.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So the last one that, and then we'll move on to
Before you get into that, I found the
In the closing
alleged picture of Amber Heard's Dookie butter.
what we don't want to see that on stream.
I'm not going to bring it up on stream. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that wasn't dropped by no Yorkie. And it's in the middle of an article, and the very first picture in the article is Johnny Depp in the Pirates of the Caribbean 2, I think, where he was screaming about the natives chasing him. Ah!
Nice.
That's fitting.
Yeah, very fitting.
So
Not
this is
like that turd would fit in a Yorkie.
so this is the last one. It's 26-second clip of a bizarre NBC interview. Yeah, we'll just watch it. You can make your own conclusions.
In the closing arguments, the Depp lawyer called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
With all due respect, what the fuck are you talking about?
What?
Oh, jeez.
Do you see what I mean? Therapy.
Yeah.
Amber Heard, get you some therapy.
I'm sorry, but in that interview right there, she seemed high to me. She seemed not sober.
Well, I will say with some mental disorders, they do seem high because their brain is just all out of whack.
Yeah.
Like there are certain cases of bipolar where you actually have hallucinations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It
that's
just
there's some sort of other.
I'm convinced that she has some form of bipolar or
I think she has borderline personality disorder diagnosed. But it's just like he tried to convince the world he had scissors for fingers. She too is an actress.
Just to say, he's just playing a role. Come on.
He's not trying to convince anybody. He's playing a role that he played to perfection, might I add.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Let's.
We have some.
This is becoming a conspiracy theory.
Right. I'm sure we could talk more about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. We have exhausted it, though. I mean, it's been all over, and we're actually late to the party. So let's just call that one for what it is. Weird as fuck, also funny, and we got to move on. But I'm excited because Moon has really put in some work to give us this really bizarre look at Alec and Hilaria Baldwin's bizarre relationship. I'll just let her, continue on here. What do you have for us?
Well, first of all, I just want to say Alec Baldwin could be his own discussion, but we're going to mostly focus on his wife, who goes by Hilaria or Hilaria. Elaria. Sorry, Elaria. The
H is silent. Okay.
H is silent.
That's pretentious.
Because, it's a Spanish name.
Yes.
Even in the Spanish language, H's are never omitted.
This woman is something. Like, I'm talking like Rachel Dolezal level of grifting. This is some bizarre stuff. I don't know, where do you want me to begin?
Let's just go from the top.
Okay, so when Alec and Elaria got married, it wasn't that much of a fuss. Like, I don't think a lot of people know Elaria, like, off the top of their heads. She's never been super famous. Probably the most famous thing about her is that she got married to Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
So kind of like out of nowhere, there was a tweet that came out in 2020 that says, "You have to admire Elaria Baldwin's commitment to her decade-long grift where she impersonates a Spanish person." And with this tweet was a video linked. I believe it's from the E! Entertainment, like a Today show kind of thing where she's cooking. And in this video, she is describing, we can just watch it.
Okay. So she's describing foods.
Her ingredients, yes.
Right, okay. So let's give this a look here.
I hope this is hilarious.
A very authentic gazpacho. We have Hilaria Baldwin with us, so tell us, how are we going to prepare this?
It's very healthy. It's very easy. All you need to make sure is that you have really...
So hold on. Is that woman actually Hispanic? Like the interviewer, she's actually Hispanic?
I do not know anything about that.
She sounded Hispanic.
She sounds more Hispanic or more Latina than...
Yeah.
Like, this is a Valley girl impersonating a Spanish person. When I hear her talk, like, I hear Valley girl. But anyways.
Yeah, let's
tomatoes. We have very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers. We have
there it is.
Red pepper. We have, of course, the critical cebolla, onion.
Can we pause?
And we have...
Yeah, she didn't know what a cucumber was.
Yes. Well, no, she knows what a cucumber is. She is pretending that she forgot the English version or the English word for cucumber.
Interesting.
Wow.
However, this alone, whatever, but this is the beginning of this Spanish grift that she's got going on. So this couple met, I believe it was in 2011. at a restaurant called Pure Food and Wine, which might sound familiar because it was on a Netflix documentary called Bad Vegan. And that couple is like their own bizarre rabbit hole of grifting.
Yeah.
So it is kind of ironic that they met there. She makes all sorts of claims in interviews leading up to the wedding that she didn't even know who Alec Baldwin was when he approached her, because she didn't watch TV growing up. And also claims that she just doesn't really understand pop culture. She's different. She's a different girl.
Mm.
Let's see. She also replied to a follower on August 2011 who was asking why she was posting in Spanish. She says, because I spent a lot of my childhood in Spain. My fam lives there. So almost like immediately when she is introduced to the media is when this started. In June 2012, Alec and Hilaria married. Time magazine reports in their announcement she was raised in Boston and Spain.
Yeah, actually, that's right here. I'll pull this up for chat, but please continue.
She's also quoted in Vanity Fair España as saying, I had to repeat it to my family 3 times, Baldwin. And the 3rd time they said, oh, we already know who it is. Why didn't you pronounce it right the first time? So this is these like little subtle things that she would say about her family, implying that they're so Spanish they couldn't understand the pronunciation of Baldwin, which is interesting.
So it's saying she's a yoga queen. She's like really into yoga.
She was, and she did work at Yoga Vita in New York. And she was working there when they met. She also had a really weird series on her Instagram where she would do yoga poses, but like one of them, her legs are behind her head and she has her, what do you call people who do pedicures? Nail technician. She has this poor woman working on her toenails while her legs are behind her head. She's odd. To say
Yeah, the pool boy giving her a rim job at the same time.
But I do want to just like pull up a picture of her parents.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick.
Because these are the people who apparently couldn't understand Baldwin.
Interesting.
This is David Thomas and Dr. Catherine Hayward.
So
very Spanish names.
They don't look Spanish at all.
No, it's just based off. Well, there are white people in Spain, but just based off of appearance, that's already kind of a red flag. But then you have the last names. You have Thomas and Hayward.
Yeah.
They spent decades working in Boston before retiring to Mallorca in 2011 when Hilaria was 27. So this whole like spending a lot of time in Spain in her childhood could be easily debunked just by like looking up her parents.
Right.
I mean, that is very obviously what's her dad's name? David Thomas?
Yeah.
It's David Tomaso, and her mother is Caterina Heywardo.
Yes, of course. My bad.
I mean, obviously they are very Hispanic.
She even told in an interview about her wedding after they got married that like 35 to 40 of her family members came from Spain to the wedding. And there's a video of this. And I just want to kind of have you guys remember how she was speaking in that previous video and compare it to this one.
Okay, let's give this a look here.
Saying this because it was my wedding, but it was the best party ever. Ever. I had like 35 or 40 of my family members come from Spain, which equals really good party. Really good party. It was just absolutely incredible.
Are you going to do, is there a honeymoon? Are we disappearing somewhere?
Well, we are This is my honeymoon right now. This is my honeymoon. Teaching yoga is my honeymoon. No, we've taken a couple days just to relax, and then he has a couple of breaks from work. And in October, I think we're going to go to España to see my family.
Oh, really?
Oh,
He's
you're gonna
never
bring him.
changed.
Yeah, that's definitely
in and out
different.
of
He was
it.
Let's go.
looking for the camera when
also
she said
wanna bring your
España.
attention- I really want to bring your attention. She uses English linguistics. Non-English speakers do not use filler words like. They don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
This just slips right out of her because this is how she naturally speaks. And she doesn't stumble. She doesn't forget English words in this interview. It's just, and this was before the cucumber video. The cucumber video was after this one, after she'd already been married to Alec for a little while. But it's
He
just
has a couple of
interesting.
breaks from work, and in October, I think we're going to go to España to see my family.
Oh,
He's
you're gonna
never
bring
been
him
to Spain.
He's never.
Well, we brought Spain to him for the wedding, but now he's got to go to Spain.
Oh, he's gonna love it. I
Oh,
think.
he's gonna love it. He's gonna
There's
love
nothing like it out there.
it. Yeah, we'll see if we come back.
Children, babies, maybe.
Oh, for me, babies?
Yeah.
Let's see what the universe has planned for us.
I
Little
see
by
his
little.
eyes got big. He looked happy. He
We
looked
both
like.
like babies.
Ooh.
We like babies. We'll see. We'll see.
That guy's being creepy
like to
anyway.
eat
Ooh, babies.
Yeah.
he's not believing a word she's saying.
Explain to them how you. What is soul yoga?
Well, soul yoga is designed to counteract some of the tightness that people develop from soul cycle, from
Toy.
the indoor cycling. So we focus a lot on psoas, we focus a lot on stretching the lower back, we focus a lot on opening up the quads and breathing.
How'd I do?
He did really well, and he's looking really good now.
Oh, now
He's giving you a run for
She's going in and out of a
Yes.
thick accent.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's not even a thick yet. It gets thicker the more she spends time in the media, but like right here it's very faint, but it comes in and out.
Yeah.
It's because when you're lying like that, it's very difficult and exhausting to keep it up for a long time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but I just gotta wonder how long until she breaks into the whole Jennifer Lopez from South Park.
So let's check out this other one you have here. This is
This is in July. So this is a month later.
We all love
Good
Alec
Morning
Baldwin. His
America.
movies, Saturday Night Live, he's fantastic, 30 Rock. But now his heart, well, it belongs to only one woman.
That is true. Tying the knot with a gorgeous yoga instructor, that's what it says, okay?
You didn't notice?
Elaria Thomas in New York just a few weeks ago. Today, we're going to get some wedding details from the bride herself for the very first time since that wedding. Joining us now, actually, we're not going to be calling her Elaria Thomas anymore. She is Elaria Baldwin.
Why are they kissing?
Well,
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
How's married life?
Married life is really
Mazel
nice.
tov?
You know, it feels different. It really feels different. But I didn't think it was going to be different, but it feels quite different.
What's the thing that surprised you the most?
I
you
think
hear it when she
just
said
the fact
really
that it feels
different?
different. You know, we like to say husband and wife a lot.
Yeah.
I call him husband now. I say, husband, where are you?
Yeah,
And
that's.
he says, where's my wife? How's
Take
my
a
wife
look.
doing?
And there we go. These are some first peeks.
I
of
love
pictures.
this. Thank you so much. That was so kind of you to share these very private photos. These are the first. We're seeing these first, I think, right? These are some special pictures.
This was my last fitting.
So you meet just a little over a year ago. And now, and look, and Alec, a favorite of ours on social media, at the programs now, certainly here at GAA. And now, I know we also have some pictures of your actual first dance, and it was a picture that a friend took with a cell phone.
Yeah, she wasn't supposed to. And
Really?
I was
Yes,
really
she snuck it in.
mad.
Actually, it was very
How
good.
dare
on
you.
Intrepid Intern
Really
got that
mad.
shot. It was great.
No.
But no, it's not true.
Did you have
No
a no
bueno.
camera?
We had
rule?
a no camera rule. A no camera rule.
But
For any number of
thankfully, it was your
reasons.
friend.
No, I was very happy, but she texted it to me, and I was just like, oh my God, you can't do this. We signed something with People Magazine. You can't do this. And she's okay, I'll delete it. I said, no, I want to keep it.
But
Yeah, it's
what's that moment? I mean, because let's face it, the swirls around the big day were there. But what was that moment like?
That morning I went to Physique 57, And the entire morning I was just walking around, and before I knew that all the photographers were going to be out, and everybody's saying to me, they're like, why are you so calm? Why are you so calm? And I said, what is there to be nervous about? What is going to go wrong? And they said, normally brides are not so...
That's a good sign, my friend.
It was a good sign. So the dance, it was fantastic.
Quickly,
it was very relaxing.
Again, you're thrust now into the public eye, certainly at a much greater scale than perhaps you could have ever imagined. Photographers everywhere now, an everyday part of your life. What's it like?
It's not my favorite thing. Just the photographers on the street, they are not always very nice to you.
Okay.
Pause that for a second, could you?
You just keep on walking. Sunglasses, I understand the purpose of sunglasses now. It used to be keys, phone, wallet. Now it's keys, phone, wallet, sunglasses.
Photographers are not your favorite thing, but yoga is.
But yoga
and
is,
it has changed your body. It has. You've said it really changed Alex.
Yeah.
And you've brought Nats and some friends here to show us some positions that we can all do at home.
So
We don't need to watch this.
I was gonna say,
The whole reason I noted this video was because it was a month later after the other one, and she's slowly sneaking in that accent more and more.
so does she have natural black hair?
No.
Yeah.
No, I can tell by looking at it, it's a dye job. But I just wanted to point out, during that interview, I was considering in my head how I was going to word a joke about how she would go in and out of the accent, much like how she's quite good looking, in and out, you see where this is going. But then immediately after I hit that frame of mind, he said, so you've been thrust into the public eye. In my head, it was hilarious. Or should I say hilarious?
Oh my gosh. So there's some more, right? So after that, she's now got an Instagram account.
Right. She makes her Instagram account. She's posting in both Spanish and English. This is a picture. This is a Spanish football jersey that she's wearing. And her quote is, in case there was any question, cultura upbringing.
If there were a middle finger.
I mean, you can't buy those on Amazon.
Here.
Wow. There
So
is one.
This isn't just not addressing people thinking that she's Spanish. This is heavily implying that she is. That her childhood, her culture is Spanish. Even though she spent 27 years living in either Boston or New York, but
yeah.
Okay.
I just want somebody from TMZ to interview her parents and be like, hey, is your daughter actually from Spain? And have them be like, no, not at all.
Right.
We were there once for a week when she was a child.
I mean, she even had followers asking her about being born in Boston, and she said, born in Boston, spent much of my childhood in Spain. I don't know.
This actually kind of calls back to Madonna, if you remember that whole thing, where she lived in England for like a month and came back with a full British accent.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference between admiring, or maybe admiring is not the word, but being an enthusiast of a culture. Like, I really like Japanese culture, but I don't run around with a Japanese accent. You know what I mean?
No, well, that just kind of goes into the whole weeaboo culture thing. It's just like, watch a couple of animes and then suddenly you're an expert on Japanese culture because you know what a katana is. Nuh-uh.
So she wasn't alone in this. This whole lie was helped and perpetuated by even Alec. This is The Late Show with David Letterman.
Alec, I feel that someone is missing.
I should say he's impersonating her right now. This is his impersonation of Hilaria.
Exactly. Yeah. And I look at him, I'm like, really? Someone's missing? You feel like someone's missing? Maybe it's that doll underneath that sofa cushion over there. Is that who's missing? You know, I'm like, oh my God. And for future father, you save your best for your wife, and she knows that. So, for example, my wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. And she said, blah, blah, blah.
Really?
And blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to be racist when I put that accent on there, by the way.
accent when he's impersonating her is stronger than her own.
Yep.
Yes, I cannot wait to see you. 12 o'clock will be fine to me. I can't
So
wait to
was
see you.
he in on
And the
it?
phone turns to me and goes,
Almost feels like it's a Lampoon at this point.
Did he know, or did
Part.
she even dupe him?
Well, that's a good question. I think she's just trying to steal all his money in some way.
She saves her most vulnerable, needy self for you.
Because she feels safe in this relationship.
Then the other thing is that this chasm between what's normal under pregnant, a pregnant woman is constantly monitoring themselves every 15 seconds. So my wife will be in the house and she'd be like, I have to pee every 5 minutes. I can't believe it. Then I'm like, well, we have 4 bathrooms in the apartment, so you're covered. We got a bathroom in every quadrant of the house at the ready. Clean and freshly papered and everything good to go. And then the next day she's like, I don't have to pee at all today. Nothing is wrong. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to pee. I don't have to. I'm not getting whiplash here. Pee, no pee. Is today a pee or a no pee day? Yeah. Sometimes like maybe once a month you hear, Alec! Alec! And I come upstairs and like there's a spider on a wall, and So then I hear that scream again, but it was not a spider.
If followed by, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. He runs up the stairs and I'm holding it and showing it to him.
I am pregnant! She screamed. My wife, Elaria, really is this preposterously unique person.
She's able to juggle all
She's the
this.
most, but she's the most healthy person emotionally.
But what
I'm
happens?
sitting here,
Wow.
like I'm in my room, and something happens.
Yeah.
And my wife will come in and be like, Alec, what good does this do for you?
I'm sorry, but healthy emotional people don't pretend to be
reasonable.
something they're
It's
not.
exhausting.
Right.
Lopotamos.
No, they don't.
So let's
Yeah, so that video goes on. He did lots of interviews where he just
Why
kinda
does he look like Bill
really
Pullman
pushed that his
still?
wife is this Spanish stereotype.
right.
Yeah, it felt like he was stereotyping Spanish people after seeing how she bungles the accent so badly and just constantly she's not doing a good job with it, and then he comes in there with like the strongest accent. It's almost like he's making fun of her because he
Maybe.
knows she's not actually from Spain, but he's keeping up with it because that's his fetish.
Yeah.
Hence the money scheme. She finds out he's into Latina girls, so she pretends to be a Latina so she can get secured in that will because he's 40 years older than her.
So let's go through the timeline here. You've got a little bit of a timeline.
I do. So this was in 2013, the same month that he went on David Letterman. Previously, she had responded to followers just saying vague things like born in Boston, but spent a lot of time in Spain. Well, there was another response that she had made where she says, you do realize my family lives in Spain and I speak Spanish, see? So it's gone from being vague to more and more pushing this Spanish heritage kind of thing. And in the summer of 2013, Latina magazine listed her as one of the 15 best dressed Latina stars of the week, which she retweeted and says, haha, I'll take it, and did not correct them for calling her Latina. And around that time, she had her first child, Carmen, and had a podcast with Dr. Oz's wife, actually, called Mom Brain. There are some gems in that podcast.
Wow.
But it's very lengthy, so we don't have to like poke around in there. But she does talk frequently on this podcast about how important it is for her to make sure that her Spanish culture is in her daughter's life. So,
Interesting.
once again, pushing the Spanish heritage. And then some years go by, things are kind of quiet. She's featured in lots of magazines. Publications keep bringing up that her childhood was split between Boston and Spain. And then for some reason, I'm not sure if it was prompted by all of these articles or if it was on a whim or not, but her father published a blog post about how much he loved Spanish culture. He grew up visiting Argentina, but, and this is a direct quote, he doesn't have an iota of Latin blood in his veins.
Wow.
This was in 2015, and it went under the radar because not a lot of people really knew who he was or his connection to Elaria.
Right.
And he never says her name in this blog post. He never like calls her out or anything like that, but he does say that he doesn't have an iota of Latin in his veins. So it could have been like a indirect way of calling out his daughter, which I found interesting. Maybe they don't speak, maybe they're just like not on speaking terms anymore after all of this. Like maybe they saw her in these stuff and were like, wow, what went wrong with that one?
Right.
Same year, Hello Magazine calls Elaria a Spanish-born beauty, and it hasn't been updated or corrected since, even after all of this came out. 2015 is also the year that she goes on the Today Show and acted like she couldn't remember the English word for cucumber. 2016, she has an interview with Latina Magazine, which identifies her as Spanish American. And it's revealed that the wedding rings that Alec and Elaria wear have Spanish phrases engraved on them. She's also featured on the cover of Hola Magazine, which calls her Spanish-born again. And she signed on to a talent agency that has Spain listed as her birthplace.
So did she not even, Almond was asking there, did she not even go to school in Spain or anything? Like it was just
No. Nope. She didn't. She grew up in Boston. She didn't move to New York until college age.
Huh.
So then in 2018, Hola Magazine features her again, says she was, this time, direct quote, born in Spain, and that her native language is Spanish. And on her podcast, she implies she moved to New York at 19 and says, I came for school and I never ever left. And this was after Dr. Oz had asked her about Spain and how much time she spent there. So once again, she's implying that she's not an American-born Boston girl. And in 2019, Elaria attends a UN session. This might have been what finally did her in, because this is just, this is so public. I don't know how, anyways.
Yeah, let's
she attends a UN session on healthy eating. So that's what, I'm not sure that the UN, I didn't even know the UN did this kind of stuff, but apparently they do. And they invited her to be on the panel, and he identifies her as half Spanish. And let's look at her reaction.
In my life, Hilaria, you're actually half Spanish and half American. And you are a wellness expert, and you focus on health, and you've done a lot of teaching of yoga. I'm interested to know how you, as an expert in human health and wellness, and at the same time as a mother, how you see the work that's talked about in this report and what it means for you.
I don't have to press anything.
It's on.
It's on.
When it's ready, it's on.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of leading by example. Which I use my social media platform. I use Instagram a lot to show what goes on in my home. I have 4 little kids, 5, 3, 2, and 8 months old, so we're really tired. But we eat really well. And, you know, it is my job as
she
their
doesn't
mother,
address
it is our
what
job
he
as
just
their
said about her
parents
being half
to,
Spanish at all.
feed them also that they're healthy, also so that they're very well behaved. And I think that most people who have children will notice if you feed your children not well,
In fact, I think
they
she
don't
might even
behave
be a
very well,
little
and it's more work.
disappointed he only said half.
Also, I believe that I'm creating a tradition
But
for them.
anyways,
You know, a lot of
so I'm proving my point that she never corrected any. She wants people to believe this about her. And like I said, I think this is what did her in, because reviews started coming in on the podcast that she was doing with Dr. Oz's wife. I actually think she's a doctor as well, so I'll just call her Dr. Oz.
That will be confusing.
Yeah, okay. I don't know her first name, so Dr. Oz's doctor wife. How about Dr. Oz's wife?
Just call her Dr. Wife.
Dr. Wife. And these
Lisa.
reviews were from people
Lisa
claiming
Oz.
Lisa. Okay, good
It's
to
a
know.
porn star name, dude.
Lisa Oz.
What? Anyway, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
swear it.
The reviews on the podcast were, and there were people claiming to have gone to high school with her, saying that she never had an accent, and that she was in Boston during her school years because they were there with her. It was also revealed that her birth name is Hillary, not Elaria,
Oh my
and that
god.
she only vacationed in Spain a couple times growing up.
Wow.
So this was a Twitter thread that got started about the tweet that says you got to admire Elaria Baldwin's 10-year grift. And she does respond to that Twitter thread in an Instagram video, and she claims that she's a mix of many things. She's saying, culturally, I grew up with two cultures. It's really as simple as that. And Alec claims that she never said she was from Spain, which maybe she didn't, but he did.
Yeah.
Very much on national television.
Yeah.
We just saw it. He claims that she's from Spain. And
So
also,
weird.
I think that not correcting people and letting them go on and on. I mean, this is for 10 years, multiple times being interviewed and featured in a Spanish magazine and never once saying, hey, I'm not actually Latina. That might as well be directly lying, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole right there. Holy cow.
Oh,
mean,
I recommend, maybe I don't recommend this, but there's another rabbit hole with her about, it's called Bellygate. And I'm smiling because I think it's just so ridiculous if it's true. All of her children, except for Carmen, were born by surrogates, and she pretended to be pregnant by wearing a moon bump. And there
Wow.
are some photos that are pretty convincing that it doesn't look like a real pregnant belly. You can, in some pictures, you can even see it kind of deflate when she bends over. But I won't get into that too much. I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's just astounding that not only would she be lying about her culture and her heritage and where she grew up, and to even fake an accent like that on national television, but now it's morphed into pregnancy. And she does talk a lot about how, like, oh, I snap right back after my pregnancies because I'm a yogi.
Wow.
You know, I'm so healthy. And it would be absolutely the most dirtbag thing if she faked those pregnancies and then went on to like promote herself as this super healthy super mom that can have 8 kids and still be super tiny. Like, that is just awful to women.
Yeah.
I don't know if she knows this, but postpartum depression is a very real thing that lots of women struggle with. And I couldn't even imagine like hating the way my body looked after a pregnancy and then going onto Ilaria's Instagram and see her in tiny little underwear, like just flaunting it in their faces. Like, I don't think she's a good person. So that's just my 2 cents.
So this is a good one here. So first time chat. Thanks for coming into chat and having some discussion. So the question is, is the harm of her saying she has Spanish roots? Did she benefit in any way saying she is Spanish? If anything, she would face more prejudice, and who wants that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know why they did this. I don't know what their motivations were. And then that is a question. Was it wrong of Rachel I have struggled to pronounce her name. Dolezal?
Dolezal.
Dolezal. That's a mouthful, man. I mean, did that do harm? Her pretending to be an African American working for the NAACP, and I don't know. I don't have a really good answer for that. I don't think it The only thing I can think of is cultural appropriation. Like you said, Spanish people, when they come and they like, I can't remember the actor's name, but he discussed that they wanted him to change his last name to Spanish sounding. And then you have this white woman from Boston just, it's difficult. I personally think it's just really trashy. I don't think it
Extremely.
hurts anyone, but it's super trashy because that community does struggle. And she's using it as like a game. She wants to be seen as exotic, you know? She has had so much plastic surgery. You guys wouldn't even recognize her from those videos if you look her up right now. And then she kind of looks like Salma Hayek. And I'm wondering if she's just got this weird obsession that she just took too far.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, I'm just saying the thing that's wrong about that, in my opinion, and trust me, I'm not like, it goes by preference, right? And I would say that me personally, I don't think I would like be terribly upset if somebody who was not white or whatever was like posing as white, if that's like even a thing. But at the same time, there's a pretty big difference when you're talking about minority groups who definitely have been marginalized, and her kind of latching onto this thing in a dishonest way, in my opinion, kind of dilutes that whole marginalization. Like, she's really just kind of, like you said, good.
I honestly wouldn't have been nearly as like, I don't want to say upset because I'm not really upset, but I guess maybe I would think more of her if she just owned up to it. But she just kept pushing that she's culturally fluid, and
it's just fake.
even to the it's just fake. It's fake.
You're a fake ass motherfucker. That's what's wrong about it, is you're just being fake instead of owning up to,
And then
like,
she has the
something that you
nerve-
are, or creating your own
Yeah.
self.
She has the nerve to get on her Instagram and talk about living authentically and how women have to stick together. And it's just a bunch. She's just a grifter. She's a grifter 100%. And one of the biggest ones I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just saw this recent video of Ray Charles, I think it was, talking about Elvis specifically, where, like, Elvis, well, let's just get it out on the table. Like, Ray Charles didn't even think Elvis was that talented, which, I mean, the guy had some talent, but I mean, and that's definitely up for debate. Yeah, but here's the thing, is that the thing that he brought up is the only reason that Elvis became famous and was kind of like seen as this bridge to, and I'm just using the interview, like, black people music, is because he was a white dude doing the same thing that black people did. And because he was doing that, going over and shaking his ass and riling up the ladies back in the day, he was seen as kind of like a cultural icon. Whereas black people back then, when they would do the exact same motherfucking thing, would get literally like run out of town, because if women were, especially white women, were coming around, swooning or, making a big deal about it. So, like, is it apples to apples here? Probably not, but it does speak to this cultural appropriation that we're talking about. Is like, this is definitely just like a straight up white Valley girl trying to claim that she's like this ethnic group, and it's trashy and fake, period. Like, it's just, but that's my 2 cents on it.
I mean, I would say that we're on the verge of cultures just bleeding together globally on a global scale.
I would say so.
At least in certain parts of the world. In the more reclusive places, maybe not. Like places that have internet restrictions, obviously.
Not gonna say where those places are you?
There are too many to name, but
I mean, the U.S.
so
is the
it is
melting pot.
interesting to think about. Yeah, and it's like, what is it's just, I'm not like I said, I don't know what harm is done, except I know it's just.
Well, okay, so Tom Hanks's son. Tom Hanks's
Yeah,
son
he
just
does.
recently, but he did it in a way that isn't creepy as fuck like she did. Like he went over and like took an interest into Rasta culture and like even started speaking Rasta or whatever and kind of like that accent. And I guess his whole explanation is that he dated some lady who was an actual Rastafarian, and he got a bunch of flack for it, but he's just like, guys, I'm not claiming I'm fucking Rastafarian. I'm just interested in the culture, and I'm motivated by it. And
Yeah.
he's just trying to have like kind of like a positive aspect to it. If she would approach it like that, instead of
She never
saying she's
did.
literally this race or culture or whatever, that would be okay. But it's just, it really comes down to she didn't do that. She's like literally trying to claim that she's a Latina and shit. And dude, you're not a Latina. Get the fuck out of here with your fake bullshit.
To this day, she is still posting on Instagram in Spanish. It's very cringy. And no apology. She played the victim too when this all came out.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the reasons I just have zero sympathy for her. Like she just
Right.
Either of them really. Like Alec Baldwin, like I said at the beginning of all of this, is his own discussion.
Right.
And we clearly saw him in those videos just perpetuating or just continuing this. He literally said, "My wife is from Spain."
Right.
Multiple times on national television.
Jeez.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, two things I want to point out. One, we have not said a thing about Alec Baldwin literally shooting somebody.
That's why I said he was his very own discussion. Like we could go into a whole nother segment about just him.
See, I think she's accomplishing what she's meant to try to accomplish in, taking the negative press from her poor, defeated husband and putting it on herself. I don't know, maybe. But at the same time, you had mentioned Rachel Dolezal a couple of times. I mean, she was working at the NAACP trying to bring rights to the marginalized African American community. That is a very lofty goal and a very awesome thing to do. But she went about it in the absolute worst possible way.
Right. For sure.
And I mean, she was trying to accomplish good by being evil.
Is that like, what is that? Chaotic neutral?
I'd say that would be
Chaotic
probably
evil?
chaotic neutral. I would say it'd be what that is. Or anti-hero. That's a good question, actually. The alignment chart is like the one thing I never fully understood about D&D. Like, fully.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still have internal debates about what one is and one is not. Either way, my point remains the same. Rachel Dolezal pretended she was black for a number of years, and when she got called out on it, she got lambasted by the black community for it. And then also, she did good for their community. Just in a very dishonest and terrible way. What Elaria is doing, and I'm just going to say her name's Hillary. Now, Hillary is just, I think she's trying to bring attention to herself.
Yeah.
Like in that interview with that guy at the after party of the wedding, whatever that's called. Precipitation, yes, that's it. did you notice how she mugged for the camera real hard when she said España?
Oh yeah, a lot of her. See, I went into this rabbit hole like head first. I've seen a lot of interviews of this woman. She does this a lot. She will do what they call a duper's delight, and it's when you feel like you've successfully lied, you get like a thrill out of it. You know, like I don't know how to. You should look it up. It's called duper's delight.
I'm gonna have to look into that. But when Jason had said you did a deep dive into this, I was thinking, oh, there's a number of articles, but by golly, I wasn't expecting this truckload of shit. So big ol' congrats to you and thank you for that.
So just to elaborate here.
Well, I found it fascinating, just absolutely fascinating.
Oh, definitely.
Like I can't fathom how exhausting it must have been to be two different people.
So the comment here, and I'm sorry, I don't even know how something GZDR forever is saying she doesn't hold political office, nor is she in a position of power. Now, Senator Elizabeth Warren, which I'm not going to get down the rabbit hole of that. That's kind of a
oh no, let's not
red herring.
No, but this woman does have a large platform, and she did sell a book. And she was on a podcast and about moms and pet, like it. She still could have a large enough audience to have influence.
She's getting a continued bigger audience by being in Latina magazine, where she has no business being in Latina magazine. So she definitely is benefiting from this. So I'm just saying, I get your point about like she's not in a political office or holding a position of power, but she's definitely benefiting from this, when I would much rather an actual Latina be getting, you know, some exposure, like an actual Latina who is talented and isn't lying about their cultural upbringing, actually get that spot rather than somebody who's just literally faking it. That's where I'm just saying that's kind of shitty. I want to actually see a Latina there, not somebody who's faking it, who's clearly a Valley girl.
How about Ivana Buquero? Ivana Buquero is an actress. She was the little girl in Pan's
It's just the
Labyrinth.
way you said that was funny. Sorry.
I was pronouncing it correctly.
I believe you.
You just gave me PTSD with
You can overcome that because
the fairy scene.
The Pale Man was
with the
terrifying.
Hand and the
It was terrifying. I will agree. I got over it because I realized fairy tales sometimes have to have terrifying points to become the wonderful, amazing worlds that they are portraying. But that's just my point, though. Ivana Buquero is a wonderful actress. She has been in a number of things, including the Shannara Chronicles. And she is a good actress. And she's actually from Spain.
Right.
Barcelona, where she was born. Not Boston.
All right. So just in the interest of time, this is a really good conversation. So I don't want to diminish anything like that, but we do have a whole other celebrity to go into, and I'd just like to say, Moonmousse, thank you so much for getting all of that information together. That was very interesting.
It was
wonderful. I love to share the rabbit holes that I get into.
So just as a palate cleanser until we move on to the next guy, we've got Playground Insults, Chris Pratt versus Jennifer Lawrence.
I love Playground Insults.
So let's give this a look.
About to play another game of Playground Insults. Now, Jennifer and Chris already here.
Just like to say for the YouTube copyright sharks, we're giving a review to this. So we need to, who won this at the end? We need to really just very specifically, somebody's got to win here.
Neither Chris Pratt nor Jennifer Lawrence are property of Squeezebox Entertainment.
Don't hold back. What's said in this room is just a game. Don't take the insults personally. The insults will leave the room when you do.
All you got to do is try and make one another laugh. So the sillier the insult, the better for us. And remember, the game ends when someone absolutely loses it or delivers the killer insult. I think today, Jennifer Lawrence to serve.
Let's go.
You are so falsely strong that if I was given a choice of you or your wife to protect me, I would choose Anna.
Why did they call it Joy?
What?
She was in a movie called Joy.
Oh.
I really loved you in Everwood. Said no one ever.
I don't even know what that one is.
Me neither.
They were giggling right at the start before anybody said anything. I'm just saying.
I mean, some of the things I read about their dynamic on the movie Passengers, which excellent fucking movie. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. Rom-com, but either way. Evidently, there were some stories about their behind-the-scenes antics where, like, she once snuck, like, half of a taco into his pocket before a shoot. And, like, he didn't notice until partway through the shoot when it fell out during a stunt. They had to scrap the whole scene.
Oh, no.
That's
That stuff is expensive.
It is.
She wasted probably like $1,000 for them to reshoot that scene over half a taco.
Her net worth is probably in the 100 millions, so I'm sure she can afford to pay them back for it.
Can't think of anything bad about you.
Stop. Don't you psych me out.
I
You
like
shut
you.
your mouth.
I like you so
Shut up.
much.
You are so stupid.
It's a shame.
That your 3-year-old son has probably taught you everything you know.
Compliment smack down there. It's such a shame to meet somebody you thought you'd like.
That's a good one.
You are so dumb that I consciously make an effort not to use compound words or words more than 3 syllables.
How does it feel being in the stupidest Marvel movie?
You are so bad at acting that the cast of Saved by the Bell feel sorry for you.
Ouch.
I recently
Yikes.
told you that you act like Adele sings.
What? Is that a compliment? I'm confused. Is Adele supposed to be a
say
bad
so.
singer?
No.
I hate Adele.
Okay, there
There's the
singer. She was like, okay, thanks for the compliment. And he's like,
And
I
he's
fucking
playing
hate
it off
them.
so well, too.
Where do you
Deadpan.
keep your Oscar?
Oh.
That's really good.
Sick.
You were given an Oscar for Best Actress. You would also get one for being the worst.
What?
That one kind of fell short. Yeah, he knows it. He knows it.
Well, I will admit it was
Look at that face.
it was clever. It was clever, but I think it was a little off. Just off.
Yeah.
I think I just lost about 20 points on that one. You really got me on the ropes.
You are such a bad guy. I don't have anything. Your beard is so thin. Oh, I can't talk about my pubes. Okay. You are so old that your publicist is a registered nurse.
What? What do we even get?
have so much fake hair that if you commit a crime, the CSI lab would probably convict some Ukrainian girl.
Okay.
Before our sex scene, I took 2 Pepto-Bismol.
Ooh. During our sex scene, I felt your dick rubbing into me.
I thought these were supposed to be playground.
Oh my God.
Chris Pratt, playground insults. That was the darkest one yet. By far.
Oh my
I've never
God.
seen that before. That was funny.
So who
I want to
won?
watch another one before
I'm just
we
saying,
go on.
who won that one?
Oh, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
I would argue that Chris won with that last one.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't
I'm gonna
know.
go
Where
with
do you
Jennifer.
think your Oscar was up there?
Right.
I mean, it was a good one, but I mean, she was talking herself up so hard with just that one bit. Where do you keep your Oscar? It's like, oh, look at me, I have an Oscar. I mean, talking yourself up while putting another person down to me is the lowest form of insult.
Hmm. Okay. This one here is pretty decent.
Tyson has had 3 marriages. The first 2 ended
Tyson,
in knockouts.
wouldn't you say it's decent?
You're ruining the joke.
Tyson has had 3 marriages. The first 2 ended in knockouts.
Ouch.
Yikes.
He's a guy.
I threw in the fucking towel.
Please don't murder me. He's a guy. He's a guy who's beaten every opponent he has gone up against except the letter S.
And that was it. That was it. Oh man.
I
Oh.
don't know if Mike Tyson's a good person or not. Like I go back and forth.
Well, he was convicted of domestic abuse back in the day,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
But
that's
at
what
the
the
same
first joke was about,
time-
I think.
Well, yes, but I think at the same time he's like, come to realize that hitting women is not okay, which is kind of sad to say out loud. But at the same time, like he's seen the error of his ways, and from what I read, he's actually a much better person than he used to be.
Yeah,
Back in
he's.
his-
I've
back in
heard
his-
he's had redemption.
Well, in his prime as a boxer, he was very, very full confidence, very full of himself, and just an absolute showboater, for lack of a better term.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of showboater,
Uh-oh.
the next gentleman, I guess, or at least on screen, he's seen as the gentleman. Chevy Chase. What have you guys heard? What have you two heard of Chevy Chase?
That this is gonna break my heart. Because I have not heard anything negative about him. All I
Really?
know is that he was a huge part of my childhood.
Yeah.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Right.
I mean,
Never
we
seen
would
it.
play it every year at Christmas, sometimes even in the middle of the summer. I mean, so I'm about to probably cry a little.
Yeah.
I don't want to know these things, I think.
I have never seen any of the National Lampoon's Vacation movies.
We just recently watched the
Vegas.
Vegas
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say I remember the Vegas one, and I remember telling you this. I remember it being funnier than when we just
well,
recently watched
you
it.
were probably immature though. I mean, I'm just
Not
saying
still?
like the
Well, yeah,
I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of the humor in that movie was aimed
Yeah.
at like 16-year-old boys or something.
Yeah. So Chevy Chase has a reputation, we'll just say, of essentially just like pissing off just about anybody that he possibly can. Like he just generally goes out of his way to piss people off. So Cracked.com had a interesting article in which they broke down the history of Chevy Chase and essentially all of the people that he's pissed off over the years. So we're talking, and I just want to give like a little bit of a history lesson here. So obviously Chevy Chase, he made his big break on SNL. Like he was pretty much the very first breakout star for SNL, period. Like this,
wow.
And I'm just saying, like, he was on already a star-studded cast to include John Belushi, which many would say, including probably John himself, was just a bigger star and funnier overall than Chevy Chase, but John Belushi didn't have that kind of chiseled look or that attractive face, so to speak. And even Chevy will say that's what, really gave him the one up on John Belushi. And here's just another thing. Chevy Chase wasn't even meant to be on that original cast. So he was given a chance. He was a writer. Like his whole thing was he was just a writer. And then he was given a chance on like kind of a whim that he would do this weekend update, which was his idea. And they gave him the chance to do that. Ratings went through the roof, seeing, of course, his chiseled features and his dimpled chin and all that. And they just kept on with it. And he was a complete and utter asshole about it. So let's get into it here. So we're going to go into a little bit of a theme of who he pissed off and how. Uh-oh, we just lost somebody. Uh-oh. We just lost your camera feed. Is your camera? No, Mike's camera feed is out. Are you doing okay there, Mike?
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't see your camera.
Oh no.
That's weird. Uh-oh, we lost you out of VDO here.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
It's
you
still
rejoined.
showing that I'm on it.
I might have to redo your link here. Just a second. Oh, there you are.
Shows I'm active.
Okay, there you are. Sorry, I didn't
I'm
want
scared.
to. You're freaking me out, man. I'm running the show and doing a segment. Sorry. So let's get back to it. That was Jason freaking out. Anyway, so who he pissed off? John Belushi, Al Franken, Lorraine Newman, Gilda Radner, and basically the whole cast and writing staff of Saturday Night Live. How did he do this? So according to Jeff Weingard and Doug Hill's Saturday Night, a backstage history of Saturday Night Live, Chevy was known as, quote unquote, a viciously effective put-down artist, the sort who could find the one thing somebody was sensitive about, a pimple on the nose perhaps, and then kid about it mercilessly. In meetings, he'd smirk at writers' suggestions and say, gee, I don't think that's very good at all.
Merciless.
Yes. As the show, and in particular Chevy
Chase.
Yeah, okay.
Chevy.
Took off, his co-workers accused him of not giving them enough credit in interviews. He was also doing too much coke and spending much of his time bragging about his fame and ordering people around the set. So just on this claim about coke, he's on apparently this Dick Cavett show and just straight up starts talking about, like, he's asked about it, these cocaine parties, and he tries denying it. But let's see what his facial expression tells, because I have a feeling that we're not going to believe him.
Tell me, I'm
Also,
interested. I did it.
I do want to point out Chevy Chase's real name is Cornelius.
Really? So that's a stage name? I didn't know
Cornelius Crane Chase is his real name.
Cornelius Crane. It's not
I think
surprising.
Cornelius is a more fun word to say than Chevy.
So apparently he went to Harvard and he has like rich parents and that. So I'm not surprised that his middle name is Cornelius.
That's his first name.
His middle name is Crane.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds like somewhat like his a maiden name, maybe like. I know. Well, some
Ichabod.
women do put their middle name or their maiden name as the middle name of their children.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of it. That could be where it comes from because Crane just sounds
Ichabod
like a
Crane.
last name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I think it's the last name.
Tell me, I'm interested because I did it. Well, this is a dangerous thing to say because I don't know my taping air schedule.
Yeah, so he's just gonna literally admit to doing cocaine in the 70s.
But
Yeah, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I did cocaine a lot.
I just taped a couple shows on cocaine, and a lady from California was talking about the scene out there. Is it true that Bruce Dern is probably the only clean actor in Hollywood these days, or one would get that impression at a party?
He doesn't smell that clean. I don't go to a lot of Bruce's cocaine parties. I understand he gives a lot of them. They run, and then they do cocaine. I don't...
I mean, he sat and lied to
I don't know
me
why
and-
you would... Let me just get this. Ask me something
What?
like that. I don't go to many parties. I don't think that it's that prevalent out there. It's darn hard to get it.
Whatever. Look at that face. Look at this.
I think he was. I
He
think
looks straight into the camera.
I'm pretty sure he was doing that to be funny. Actually,
Look at this.
I don't think he was trying to hide anything on that. Pretty sure he was actually playing that off for the laugh. I think during that time
But
it
it's
was an
interesting question.
epidemic.
Is it? It is. Yes. I probably.
Let's talk misdemeanor.
I'll use it elsewhere sometime. There's no chance of
I
getting
don't
you
think
to
that
talk.
is true, actually.
No.
I think Bruce takes a great deal of... I really have no idea where that came from or why.
He sat here one time and swore that he was as clean as...
Well, you know what gets me? First of all, he's our age.
Right.
And he looks 50. Now, the man... I like him very much. When I say our age, of course, I mean my age.
You mean our combined age. No.
But
what should we pick on?
here's a man who, you know, runs 15, 20 miles a day, does marathons, and of course, no one's ever heard of him as a runner. So it's equivalent, but people ask him advice on running. He must be a great runner. He runs 15 miles. And man, it's like a man playing 8 hours of tennis every day, and he's still so bad that you just don't hear about him. You never know who he is. He doesn't play in any tournaments, and or he plays in a lot and loses. And you ask him advice, like, what do you do with your serve? I don't know, 15 hours a day, and I'm still this bad. It sort of always interested me.
That's a side of you that I haven't seen.
So do you see, so like this kind of goes to that claim. I didn't, admittedly, some of these were like kind of, I wanted to do as genuine a react as I could. But notice how he was really just picking something that this person that we don't even know, because it's like from the 70s, but this guy spends a lot of time doing both running and also tennis, but he really wants to just down them on this hobby or, you know, whatever they're trying to do for a professional thing. He's just really trying to mock them. And this is why I believe that, I mean, and we'll see later on, like that Chevy just fully admits that he's just a complete and utter asshole, but let's continue.
I don't suppose any chance of getting you to talk seriously about the what could I call it, the rumored animosity that your friends on Saturday Night Live were supposed to have felt when you left, and they thought maybe you endangered their careers and yours, perhaps.
I can talk about that, seriously.
Okay.
Yeah. Here?
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, I don't know what the rumors are. I haven't been in New York much. I get calls, and they say, Chev, we heard this and that, and I must say that they're right. There was some animosity, but it was only Belushi, and I believe if you ask him about it, you'll hear... he's learning to eat with his mouth now, though. So. There wasn't any. There was just a lot of... I think a little bit of elitism up there when I left.
There's no way that there was not animosity when he's acting like that. I'm just saying.
Was last up
It's interesting how he says that I'm not in New York anymore. Not in New York as much. Because he's probably moved to LA at this point.
Right.
For movie deals that maybe they're not getting. So he has to like slide that little insult in there. Oh, I'm not in New York
Right. That's below me.
Not he didn't say it like that, but
Yeah.
New York, and they're just about right. Of course, there's this one. No, I guess they're the only.
He's speaking statistically, of course. Yeah.
But it wasn't nearly as what people had thought. It lasted for about a minute before the show, and ruined my performance, I guess, for a good half hour. And then it was over with. I wouldn't say who it was. It wasn't John or anybody else. It was just a general feeling that I wanted to kick the living daylights out of a few of the people there.
I see. Well, I for a moment I thought you wouldn't be serious about that, and you surprised me.
Well, I didn't get detailed because it's just not fair to Gilda.
Besides, you don't have the nerve to
Who has
use
a
real name.
foul mouth.
Dang, dude. I mean, do you see where we're going with this?
Yes, I
He
do.
was very frank about that. So
He was.
let's continue on. So like going back to who he pissed off, Johnny Carson.
Oh no.
How did he do this? So Carson once said Chevy couldn't ad-lib a fart after a baked bean dinner, which is a pretty good joke. Like,
That is an
thanks,
excellent
Johnny.
joke. Not gonna lie, that is. I'm keeping that one in the memory banks.
Right. After Chevy dismissed chatter that he would be, or he could be the next Carson by telling New York, "I'd never be tied down for 5 years interviewing TV personalities," which in fairness, he never was. Who else did he piss off? Lorne Michaels. I'm not even aware of. Let's look this up. Uh-oh. We closed the
happened?
stream. Uh-oh. Here, I'll
That
bring it
didn't
back up.
sound good.
We'll bring it back up. Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties.
So, Lorne Michaels. Let's see who this is. It's this guy. So apparently this is Lorne Michaels. I wasn't aware of
Created
this person.
SNL, as far as I know.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's
there's
how
a young
much I
picture
know about
of
it.
him. You
A young
scrolled past
picture.
it. It's black and white. Second
Oh,
row.
right here. Okay. He looks more familiar there.
Well, on that one and the one next to it, he kind of looks like a very pissed off version of the bad guy from Billy Madison.
Well, anyway, so he pissed off Lorne Michaels, essentially. So Lorne and Chevy were close friends until Chevy, without warning, decided to leave the show at the end of his contract and do a handful of primetime specials for NBC, severing his relationship with Bernie Brillstein, the manager he shared with Lorne, and signing with William Morris in the process, I'm assuming is a different manager. Chevy was a scumbag the way he left, one of the writers told Grad and Hill, deceitful and dishonest about the whole thing. When staff writer Tom Davis asked why he was leaving, Chevy said, money. Lots of money. So, continuing on, who he pissed off? Jacqueline Carlin. So, I need to...
Just a little bit about Lorne Michaels here, just taken straight from Wikipedia. Best known for creating and producing Saturday Night Live and producing the late night series Kids in the Hall and The Tonight Show.
Okay. So,
I don't know if you guys know Kids in the Hall, but it's pretty funny.
So this here is Jacqueline Carlin. This is another person who he pissed off, and I'm anyway, so how did he piss her off? Carlin, whom Chevy married right after he left the show. Okay, well, there you go. Filed for divorce 17 months later. Wow. Citing threats of violence. Dang, Chevy, come on, dude. He then cited his engagement and impending marriage to Carlin as a reason for leaving Saturday Night Live. Wow, that's kind of petty. Blamed the bitch strategy, according to one of the women on the show. Wow. So, another person that he pissed off, and is not actually a really big fan of the guy, apparently, is Jeremiah Chechik, which is the guy that played his cousin, Eddie. Apparently doesn't like the guy. Does not like the guy. And there's actually an interview where he talks about it, and I think, in my opinion, he's being a bit polite about the whole deal. Probably a little bit more polite than Chevy deserves.
Well, one of the things, of course, the star of the film, Chevy Chase, like, there's no doubting that he is a comedy legend, but there's so many stories you hear of him maybe sometimes a bit like Sean Connery, not suffering fools gladly, or suffering idiots or geniuses or pencils or pens or whatever, just that sometimes he's in a shitty mood. You can kind of see over his career that it kind of like after with the Invisible Man film, I can't remember the name of it, it really seemed that his career fell after that. And like, I don't know if you ever seen his Comedy Central roast where he turned up in sunglasses. He wouldn't take the glasses off. He wouldn't laugh at any of the jokes. And there was all these young up and coming comedians. And it was just like, it was just so many bad vibes. So for you personally, how was your experiences of working with Chevy Chase?
Me, it was great. I mean, he wanted me to do the movie, and we got on great. And you know,
we lost him.
Uh-oh.
That was fun. Was what he should have been on set. He was funny. He was generous. I dare say I probably couldn't have done it without his major support on every level. In other words, he was the wind in my sails. He was behind me on my decisions. When I had disagreements,
so he's not an asshole to everybody.
With his co-star, he backed me. So it turned out to be a very positive experience for me. I mean, I can't comment on the kind of circuitous, post-vacation decisions he made, or all of that, because the only time I saw him recently, I mean, relatively, was when I was doing a show called Chuck, and he was hired for a run of Chuck. I didn't direct those, but my colleague Robbie McNeil was directing them, and I was prepping my episode. So I did. We went out to dinner. We hung out, and I found him the same old Chevy. He's a very good piano player too. So I think we were at Beverly Hills Hotel, and we sat down and played piano. And so my memory of him is fond and continues to be.
So yeah, he's not, I guess, an asshole to everybody. So at least there's that. But who's some other people that he pissed off? So he's pissed off Jane Curtin when Chevy returned to the host of the show, or to host the show for the first time after his departure. We're assuming SNL here. He insisted on doing the weekend update segment that had been his trademark. According to some accounts, including Chevy's, this pissed Jane off. In Live from New York, Jane insists that she really didn't care and that Chevy was expecting a reaction and she wasn't getting it from her. And this is probably one of the more famous ones here, is Chevy actually has pissed off Bill Murray. So, and we'll see a video. We'll see a video about this one, but just to read the what was mentioned in the Cracked article. According to Chevy, John Belushi had spent a lot of time poisoning the cast against him, in particular Bill Murray, who is more or less his replacement on the show. Bill apparently confronted Chevy about something, possibly the weekend update situation. The two traded barbs. Murray told Chase to go home and fuck his wife. Chase told Murray his face looked like something Neil Armstrong had landed on.
Wow.
confrontation turned physical. Chase's account of the fight live from New York is hilarious, both for being so self-serving and as for insistence that he, an upper middle class 14th generation New Yorker, had grown up on the edge of East Harlem and had been in lots of fist fights. It wasn't as if I was simply some guy who had never seen the other side of the tracks. Chase, who went to Dalton and the Stockbridge School, said I had, and we'll see that here in this interview, which it's kind of a little bit misleading because Bill Murray's on the thumbnail, but Bill Murray's definitely not in this interview.
You and Bill Murray were always at each other's throats. True or false?
Not always.
Not always, but a lot of
Once.
times, right?
Once, yeah.
What happened?
Once.
What happened between you and Bill Murray? On the set of Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
What happened?
I went to host
right
in 1978 or something.
Okay.
Bill had been my replacement when I left.
Right.
And I didn't know him well, but I knew him.
Right.
Very funny.
Extremely, yeah.
And a tough kid from Chicago who probably thought I was from,
Harvard.
Harvard, and had never had a fight.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's not true.
Right.
But here's what happened. I went to the show. I found out later from Lorne that John, who I'd known for years,
John Belushi,
even before SNL, had been quite kind of jealous about my rise to fame, and maybe for good reason. The fact is that John was brilliant, and by any real standard, he should have been the big star. But there are things that happen. You know, my name is said every week. Nobody can spell his name.
Right.
You know, I'm tall.
It was legendarily known that Belushi was sort of the star in the group.
Yeah.
And then you...
Danny was actually the real
what a brilliant
genius.
guy.
He was the resident genius.
And all of a sudden, Chevy did the Weekend Update. Whatever
and
the
he blew
reason,
up,
you charmed the American public.
Yeah.
You got all
For
the
whatever
articles.
reason,
You became the face of Saturday Night Live.
Okay,
And
so
there was
apparently
jealousy.
this ate a little bit at John. Enough so that, as I found out later, John had said things to Bill about me when I'd been on the show that simply hadn't occurred or existed. Everybody knew that.
Right.
But I didn't realize he had said these things. So he'd already worked Bill up a little bit.
Right.
And I went in, I was probably a little full of myself after a year of fame or whatever. I think that Billy probably wanted to knock me down a couple of rungs, you know? And I think he wanted to take me on. And basically, words were said just before the show.
Oh,
I was supposed to go in the makeup room. and he got me.
That makes it easy.
He got me really pissed. I finally went to his dressing room just before the show and said, and opened the door and said, if you say something like that again, I'm going to, whatever. And John was there. They were both sitting back in the car. And I realized in that instant it was John, because he gave me a look. It was, here's the total instigator is John. Which is kind of funny, really.
Yeah. He was enjoying seeing the fruits of his labor.
Yes.
He had
I
laid
think
the
so.
groundwork.
But
and
maybe
here
a
it
little
was.
guilty, too, because what happened was Billy jumped up from this couch they were sitting on, lounging on, and charged me at the door. And I immediately got into a fight stance, which is, I boxed a lot, and I didn't. So I had no problem with fights. I was ready to level him, and he was probably ready to scratch me up. And at the same time, John rushed to the door. And John's like 5'7", Billy's like 6'1".
Right.
I'm like 6'3.5" at the time.
Right.
And John puts his hands on the door to block it off. And as I remember, I might have thrown a glancing punch off to his forehead.
Wow.
And Billy, I think, might have hit him in the back of the head. So John was the one.
John broke it up.
John broke his head up. Yeah, basically. And then also Brian Doyle Murray, who's Billy's older brother, came behind me and grabbed my arms to stop me.
Oh, great.
And
so Bill can hit
and he
you.
was strong as hell, Brian. He was a short guy, but these guys had obviously been in a few rumbles.
So you're not close with Bill Murray even to this day?
Well, we've never been close, but we've been very friendly. We played golf together.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I can't play for crap. I don't like golf. Billy is a golf maven.
Right.
He really knows
You
it.
play because it's a social thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone invites you, you'll go.
Yeah, and I think we've made an effort over the years to get to know each other better and to put that stuff behind.
Well, there you have it. The scuffle with Bill Murray and John, instigated most likely by Belushi. But I'm just going to say, sounds to me like Chevy kind of didn't make it difficult for people to dislike him. That's so we're just going to keep going just in interest of time here. So who he pissed off this time? Terry Sweeney, Robert Downey Jr., John Lovitz, and the cast of the 85 to 86 season. How did he do this? Chase was back to host again in 1985 and seemed to piss off literally everyone. He made fun of Robert Downey Jr.'s father with a quote here, "Didn't your father used to be a successful director? Whatever happened to him? Boy, he sure died, you know. He sure went to hell." Damn, dude.
Right.
And was relentlessly hateful to Terry Sweeney, suggesting SNL's first openly gay cast member star in a sketch where they weighed him every week to see if he had AIDS. And then his quote here, so then he ended up having to apologize and actually coming to my office, Sweeney says. He was really furious that he had to apologize to me. And this is a note here. As a coda to Chevy's SNL assholery, we'll note that he ran into Live from New York author James Miller a few years after the book's publication. Angry with his status in the book as a recurring villain, Chevy proceeded to prove everyone right by immediately going off on Miller and one of the authors receiving a sobbing phone call from his wife, Janie. Wow. Who else did he piss off? The entire television viewing public. How did he do this? Chevy returned to television in 1993 with a high-profile attempt by Fox to fill the void left by a retiring Johnny Carson. Remember that quote about he would not be somebody that would do interviews? Well, I guess he was. Going to take that up a few years later, 20 years later, I guess. So in a New York cover profile from before the show's premiere, highly recommended, where he tries to blame the huge flop of Nothing But Trouble on poor Dan Aykroyd. The show already feels doomed to fail. The only preview we get is a game Chevy wants to play with audience members involving putting rubber bands around their heads and racing by scrunching their faces. And within 5 weeks of his debut, it was canceled. He later told Time he wanted to do something much darker and more improv, and blamed network constraints and not his own clear nervousness and incompetence for the show's failure. We just saw an interview with Howard Stern, but apparently he's pissed off Howard Stern. How did he do this? In 1992, Chase was recorded talking shit about Stern in between commercial breaks on Larry King's show. Stern got a hold of the tape and played it on air before calling Chase, who told Stern never to call again. A few years later, Stern and Richard Belzer called a furious Chase several times at 5 a.m. The two apparently made up, and Chase was invited to Stern's wedding, but apparently gave a wildly inappropriate toast that only exacerbated Stern's dislike of him.
Well, we just saw an interview with him on Howard Stern that was clearly post 1992.
Yeah, that's from 2008, according to the title of the video.
Yeah.
So continuing on here, and there's plenty of more stuff here, and then a video to lead us out to the end here. Who he pissed off? Will Ferrell and the cast of the 1996-1997 season. How did he do this? Well, when he was here, Tim Meadows says in Live from New York, it was just like watching a car accident over and over again, just watching him deal with people. According to Will Ferrell, Chase was a little snobbish and prone to screaming at people, and that show's first meeting, he told a female writer, maybe you should go give me a hand job later, reportedly mortifying Lorne Michaels, I'm guessing is what they're talking about there. Anyway, I don't know if he was on something or what, Ferrell said, if he took too many back pills that day or something. That doesn't seem like he was taking back pills. Who he pissed off? Bill Maher and NYPD Blue creator Stephen Bochco, I guess is how you say that. So
yeah,
how
that's Bochco. Yeah.
so how did he do this? Chase appeared on Politically Incorrect in 1997. I'm just saying, how the fuck do you piss off Bill Maher? Like,
Being religious.
well, yeah, fair enough. But anyway, so alongside television producer Stephen, oh, they didn't put the C in this, Bochco, and insistently hijacked, this is being a pain here on this, anyway, and insistently hijacked the conversation to talk about how television, and Bochco's work in particular, is useless and worthless. Shortly thereafter, he admits that he is not terribly familiar with Bochco's work. When Maher attempts to get the conversation back on track, Chase declares that he disapproves even of Maher's show. Bochco suggests that Chase leave the show, and Chase almost makes it out the door before Maher stops him and asks him to stay. Who else did he piss off? Kevin Smith. That same year, Chevy met with Kevin Smith to talk about relaunching the Fletch series. According to Smith, the meeting was a disaster, which there's a long blog post on it. I kind of skimmed through it. It's very long-winded, but here's the Cliff Notes version. At the lunch, Chevy went on to claim he invented every funny thing that ever happened in history of not just comedy, but also the known world. You ever sat down with somebody who claimed responsibility for stuff he did and didn't do? It's really off-putting. Chase later accused Smith of lying to him. Let's keep going here. So who else did he piss off? Comedian Ron Hubel, I guess is how you say that. Hubel, who describes himself as the biggest Chevy Chase fan in the world, approached Chevy backstage at UCB Theater to introduce himself, only to have Chevy slap him across the face offensively hard. And then he claims it was done as a joke. In good humor, Chase told New York Magazine, and Hubel says he didn't take offense. Come on, dude. What the fuck? But it clearly left an impression on him and an onlooking Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, left an impression in the shape of a hand on his face. I got a giggle at the use of the word offensively. Offensively hard
He's
slap.
like, it was a bit, that was a bit of a hard slap, dude. Like,
I'm offended by how hard you slapped me. Wow.
Who he pissed
but at
off?
the same time, I dig it.
Who he pissed off? Dan Harmon. Okay, so
how do you piss off Dan Harmon? The man who invented Rick and Morty. Come on.
So how did he piss
the
him
guy,
off?
Dan Harmon was recently under fire for having a video of that he made resurface in which he fucked a baby. How do you piss a guy that does that off?
Well, they make a mention here. So, show creator Harmon, himself reputedly a sensitive and vindictive prick, has been embroiled in a weirdly public feud with Chase almost since the start of the show, and it's not hard to see the uncomfortable parallels between Chevy himself and his character Pierce Hawthorne, an old out-of-touch, self-aggrandizing bigot who alienates all the people he works with. Their sniping turned into a full-on confrontation over the last week. I don't know when this week is, apparently, but that's what the article says. The last week when Harmon, smarting from an onset spat over the late script, gave a very public fuck you to Chase at a party in front of his wife and daughter and leaked a hilariously profane voicemail that Chevy left for him, which we'll actually see in a video at the end of the show here, the last video we'll watch. To be fair, Harmon apologized in a meandering Tumblr post. Yeah. Tumblr? Get the fuck out
Dan
of here.
Harmon uses Tumblr. Oh my god, that's funny.
And he says, I'm a selfish baby and a rude asshole and not a person to trust with your feelings. Well, thanks, Dan.
Good to know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a sort of poignant interview with the Huffington Post, Chase hints that he might leave the show soon, insisting that he wants a much freer kind of performance thing, quote unquote, which is more or less what he said about the Chevy Chase show 20 years ago. I'm going to probably mess this last name up here. Who he pissed off? Dinos Stamatopoulos, I'm guessing is, and much of the community,
yeah.
and much of the community cast. How did he do this? Chevy, quote unquote, has a reputation for being a dick. Dinos Stamatopoulos, who plays the character Star Burns, told Mark Maron on his podcast last year, quote, that reputation is earned. He nevertheless insists that he personally likes Chevy and that all the actor needs is a little respect, which he apparently doesn't get from the younger cast. So here's an update. Dinah writes in, Chevy mostly pissed me off when I was working for Conan back in '94. I had been working hard all week in a on a very complex desk piece. It played the segment right before Chevy came out, and it did okay. After Chevy was introduced, he sat down, and the first thing he said was, wow, Conan, that bit, referring to the desk piece, sure was stupid. Also, just to clarify, I get along with Chevy just because I barely work with him and don't have him constantly ruining whole days when I'm there, like he does with the regular cast members. I view him now as a confused old man who can't really hurt me in any way. I understand why the regulars on Community and the full-time writers hating him. I don't really understand his usage there, but anyway, if he wasted my time as much as he wasted their time, I'd hate him too. And here's the last one before we get to the last video. Who he pissed off? Yvette Brown, Allison Brie, Megan Gans, and probably most of the show's female staff. No one has come out and said specifically, I hate Chevy Chase, but there are hints on Watch What Happens Live. Yvette Brown didn't even have to think before naming Chevy Chase as the person she'd kick off Community. She had to choose one of them. Asked by the Daily Beast, Jace Lacob about an uncomfortable rape joke, which I might have to look into that. Interesting. I'll look into that here in a second. Chevy made a panel appearance by the cast. Brown and fellow cast member Allison Brie and writer Megan Gans were diplomatic but not particularly warm. Quote, his bits are from a different time, Gans says. A lot of crass comedy is accepted, Brie offers. Some people don't know how to word it the right way. Brown agrees that some people don't, quote unquote, know their room. Maybe he was from a time when women weren't empowered enough to speak up. I'm glad we're in a time now where if you're offended or upset by something someone says, you feel empowered to say, that's not right. Chase doesn't seem to be helping things by telling the Huffington Post that the only two relatable characters are the two white girls, the two pretty young girls, Allison Brie and Gillian Jacobs, who are probably more like people that we can all understand. So let's see if I can quickly here on the rape joke, because it seems like that's probably just not in great taste.
Rape tastes bad.
It says, yeah, I don't think they, yeah, multiple times. Yeah. I'm not seeing it immediately there, but it seems as though he was just very insensitive and old-fashioned, which, I mean, whether it's old-fashioned or not, it's insensitive and kind of a prick. But let's go over and check out this final video where Chevy says, I'm proud of who I am.
Before you do that, I had read something about Chevy on Community where evidently talking to Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino,
Yeah.
He has apparently been just straight up racist towards him.
I've heard that too. I've heard that
Yeah,
too.
that's a little messed up.
I'm kind of
Just
surprised
saying.
that didn't pop up into the Cracked article here that we've
Yeah.
been, but that was the reason I used that article is because it had just pretty much a full. Some of them were just kind of like one-offs, like that article that they were talking about in Daily Beast, but this one had like from start to finish in his entire career. But let's go over and give this one a look, and then we can conclude on the show. Chevy Chase is kind of a dick, and he doesn't give a shit about it. So let's watch this.
One thing that's obviously important is Weekend Update. You invented that. So it might seem not.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
It might.
I got it.
Hello, Chevy Chase. Hello. He's one of the funniest, most innovative comedians I've ever seen. But the last time I saw him wasn't a good night for him. SNL's 40th anniversary in 2015. The man who had always struck me as so nimble, so natural, seemed completely out of sorts. I wrote Chase after that, and he invited me over. We've met more than 6 times in person over the last year. All right, let's go, man. He's a complicated person, funny and sensitive at one moment, unforgiving and harsh at another.
A complicated person is kind of like just an excuse for saying the dude's an asshole, but anyway.
And everything seems wrapped into his relationship with SNL. He still regrets leaving after just one season in 1976.
That's it. Just ominously playing piano.
Yeah.
Doesn't he seem kind of shaky too? Like a
little bit.
When I'm watching this, there's multiple times he's holding something in his hands and he seems a bit shaky.
It might.
Is the
Well,
mic
he's
okay?
78.
Okay, good.
Do you want Chevy wearing a bib while he tells us how he created Weekend Update?
Well, I'll tell you what. How's this? I liked this, the whole thing of it spilling.
You did that
Should
on
we
purpose.
just
I mean,
leave
that
it?
was.
We could just leave it.
Yeah, we could just leave
that's
it.
like a good
I mean, I think it was.
Look at this phone. Like, the dude's got plenty of money. You can't have. I don't know.
I was shocked about how much I wanted to be back. And I never asked if I could come back. And, by then I'd become a big deal. And so I was at the level of hosts of Saturday Night Live. But I missed it terribly. And I didn't think much about a movie career. It just sort of happened. I made a Foul Play with Goldie.
There we go. My fault. Very much my fault.
Chase didn't just happen. He became SNL's first breakout star. He was tall and good-looking, a master improviser, and a physical comedian all in one.
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
He balanced on that sarcastic rope between arrogant and adorable. But as the 80s turned to the 90s, his movies started to fail. Then his gig as a late-night talk show host bombed. Which brings us to NBC's sitcom Community, which began as a promising comeback but ended in chaos.
No, those are both for me.
Chase battled with show creator Dan Harmon. He got into conflicts with other cast members. Things he said that he thought were jokes. Things he said to Donald Glover, for example, would be perceived as nasty slights, even racially insensitive. By the end, his reputation had taken another hit, and he was drinking.
That was a hit show. That show had good...
So it seems like when he's on the substances is where, like, the demons come out to me. I mean...
Reviews?
I didn't know that. I didn't care that it was a hit show or not. My efforts to become part of that cast were eschewed consistently, partly because I didn't know what they had, and partly because I wasn't happy.
Dan Harmon's coming. Dan Harmon is here as well.
Could you
Hi,
back
Brian.
it up a little bit
relationship
there?
with Harmon.
Yeah.
Just a little ways with the... Yeah, there. Is that lamp made from a human spinal cord?
No, it looks like rope. He's got another lamp over off to the right here that looks like it's rope.
Okay. I was just going to say.
He bottomed out during the third.
Is that...
That's Bill Burr.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The world's angriest comedian.
Dan Harmon's coming. Dan Harmon is here as well. Hi, buddy.
Chevy's relationship with Harmon bottomed out during the 3rd season of Community. At the season wrap party, Harmon grabbed the microphone and started to mock Chevy in front of everyone.
Everybody on the count of 3 just say, go ahead and say, F you, Chevy. And then everybody very much participated.
Embarrassed and angry, Chase returned home and left a voicemail that spelled out exactly how he felt about Dan. Okay, Chevy Chase voicemail for Dan Harmon.
Oh, God. Okay.
Right, here we go.
Yeah. This is going to be embarrassing, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, Harmon responded by playing the recording at a live theater gig he does. This got recorded and posted online. Suddenly, the Chevy Chase haters had another episode to quote.
If you're here right now and kick your teeth out, you're not funny. You're okay.
So Harmon plays that, and suddenly, when Gawker, remember? Gawker writes, you know, Chevy Chase isn't.
See, he seems a bit like whenever that gets played, he seems actually a bit nervous, but then he tries playing it off. Like, to me.
Looks like it, yeah.
That now becomes part of the record, that you somehow misbehaved.
I mean, they called me an asshole at Gawker. I don't know. I don't want to see it. It'll just hurt.
That's just reeking of Hulk Hogan.
By the way, that is an exquisite couch.
I find it hard to believe that you don't
Exquisite?
understand that
I
there's
wouldn't
this
use
perception
that word,
of you as being that way.
It's jealousy. I've said that to you before, but it's like, you can't really say that. Did you just say that writers writing anything negative is jealousy? Yeah, I did. What kind of jealousy? I'm funnier than them? Yeah, I guess maybe. I'm considered good looking? Yeah. There you have it. I'm Chevy. Go yourself.
Spot on his
He
shirt
owns it, dude.
disappeared.
Sometimes I get the feeling that your attitude about what you're doing and what you're not doing is, I don't really give a shit. But sometimes I get a feeling that you really
He's
want
not
to
very
be
good at piano,
working
is he?
all the time and to remind people this is what I do.
Absolutely. I think that what you just said, you want to be working all the time so that people know what you do well, can apply to any performer.
Why are we sitting here in this lovely house, but relatively
Christine's back.
isolated?
Yeah.
You're looking at a script that has, by a guy named S. Michael Meyer, that has written 3 lines for you.
I don't know. What am I supposed to say? I don't know. Because I don't know how it works beyond how it's worked for me, how it has been for me. So I don't know why are so many other people being given, and often I'll say, I could have done that. I mean, try me, you know. I don't know what to tell you. I was going to get some coffee.
So let's take a break,
But,
okay?
Yeah, we're good.
We're going through all your photos.
It's like obsessively touches his chin.
Oh my God.
And he was shaking real bad there.
Sometimes Chase gets
He might be nervous anyway. Like, so just talking about the
Maybe.
subject they're talking about, they're literally just kind of like, hey, dude, are you an asshole?
Yeah.
defensive and angry. He's hurt. See, no one wants to talk about how he's still funny.
When I had hair, I was a good-looking guy.
They're focused and obsessed with his reputation as a villain, a toxic show killer who's impossible to work with. It's taken its toll.
Lining up to see the premiere of the movie Earthquake.
I've already done what I've done. I can't change anything, and I'm old. I don't have to worry about what I did anymore. I know who I am. People know who I am who know me, and I'm proud to be who I am. Listen, I love that you're doing this. I love that I'm trying so hard to look good, and I love that I actually think I am okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
That you can write whatever you want. Look, you've shown me what other people have written over the years. It ain't too good. But look, I still did a lot of movies, and I still could star in a show if I want. I still, you know, I've gotten to a place where it doesn't really matter what people write or say, because it's only an instant of an instant of my life.
Okay, fair enough. All right, you want to go outside?
Yeah,
Well, there you have it. Chevy Chase.
I'm conflicted.
You're conflicted.
Too. I am
Yeah,
too.
I'm not sure. I think he's just somebody that I would describe as a tough drinker.
What was that? You
What
broke
now?
up a little bit.
There's a phrase where you're a tough drink to swallow or something, and I think
Yeah.
that would fit him because he does seem very sincere.
Yeah.
He does, but and he owns up to all of the naysaying that people have been throwing his way, almost as though it's just kind of his personality on and off camera. It's just like, he owns up to it, he lives with it. Great. That just shows a sense of self-awareness. But at the same time, that last thing he said, it's just an instant of my life. That shows a little bit of philosophy to the guy.
Yeah.
Just saying that things he does in life, things that people say about him are just insignificant in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, that is the show. Do we have any
Is
final
it?
comments, final thoughts? We'll start with Moonmousse. What do you have anything?
I'll probably still watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation
Fair enough.
for the rest of my life. But
You'll add an extra shake of salt to the popcorn.
yeah.
Arasaki makes a good point. It's about perception too.
Oh, definitely. But
I
can tell you
can't
that-
pretend I know Chevy Chase or whatever.
No.
Just
I mean,
from just especially that last interview. He probably is an asshole, but I think he's like one of those guys that are an asshole, but they have a sweet side. I don't know.
It seems like and I'm not by any means, I'm not one that's going to defend the guy. But I will
No.
say I agree with you that he's probably a hard pill to swallow, and weak people don't like that, or people that like are regularly like easily offended. And even a couple of the mentions in the Cracked article, they're just
Well, I think that they made a good point where he's just from a different time. Like, you don't make comments about people's race anymore.
Yeah.
Like maybe the
Oh.
Childish Gambino thing was offensive, but I mean, he's from a generation that we have a hard time relating to because of that.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, they're old enough to know that they need to mold themselves to modern sensibilities.
Yes.
But on the other side of the same coin, look at all the people he has pissed off. Dan Harmon, Kevin Smith, Bill Maher, Will Ferrell, Howard Stern. Are any of them angels? No. Not a single one of them.
Allman has a point here. It says their dad is a year younger than him and knows what is PC and what's not PC. Well, probably your dad had to hold a job, whereas, Chevy Chase has been
Yeah.
a celebrity and is a bit out of touch. Not defending him. That's not a defense, but it's just
Not
a
at all.
perspective. It's just kind of like getting a perspective of him versus...
He also seems like
It's
he'd
not a
be one
bad
of those
perspective.
people who are stubborn to change their ways. Like my
Right.
dad, doesn't matter what you say to him about it, could be about anything. He just will not change who he is or what he wants to do.
I remember him making a mention that they predicted that the dust on the moon would be so deep. I can't even remember what measurement he gave, but when they got up to the moon, it was not that deep, so therefore science is trash.
Yeah, well, that's anyways, he's a very stubborn person, and it could be
Oh,
that
for sure.
that's the case for Chevy Chase. maybe he does know and he just doesn't care. I mean, he made a comment. He that one show to be much darker.
Yeah.
I don't know if
knows?
you can make a daytime talk show dark.
That was such a weird. I don't know.
Welcome
rubber
to Chevy
bands on your
Chase's
face.
torture hour.
Hey, audience, put some rubber bands on your face now.
And scrunch your face up until. How is that a race?
I don't even know.
I almost want to wish we had a clip of this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on.
No.
Chevy
No.
Chase rubber band race.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, there's apparently stuff about it. Rubber bands to remove keloids. Okay, that's nice to.
Well, we're
Not
getting
related.
we're getting to the end of the the episode here. So, Mike, do
Yeah.
you have any final advice?
I do actually.
He's got to get situated.
Jason, if you could, give me a walking bass line real quick. Wash your motherfucking balls!
All right. Well, thank you, chat, so much for your awesome interaction. Hopefully, I wasn't too harsh to our first-time chatter there, calling Elaria kind of a fake-ass motherfucker. But that being said, this is the Fresh Squeeze podcast. There is a kitty on screen right now, and thanks
her,
everybody
but
for watching.
She was on screen for a good period of time earlier, and she's a good girl.
Well, thanks everybody for watching, and as always, wash your balls. Check us out every single Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Every other week, we're going to be checking out some games, and then the weeks off from that, we're going to be doing what we did tonight, bringing you some interesting topics like celebrities behaving badly. Thank you, Moonmousse, for coming on and providing us with that awesome segment on Alec Baldwin and his weird-ass wife. All right. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, y'all, and sweet dreams.